Hi, André. Hello, Georgie. What do you make of this cup, André?
It's a 14th century communion vessel. Spanish, probably.
You sure know your onions. Thanks for your help, André.
You're welcome.
You're back.
Oui, I have returned.
Hello again.
Hello again, monsieur.
Well, I wasn't expecting to see you back here again.
No? Well, it is a strange thing, but I am here on duty.
On duty? But you're just sitting there drinking wine.
No, I am not just drinking wine. I am undercover.
I must be missing something. You're in uniform.
Precisely, monsieur. My cover is that of an indolent, wine-guzzling police officer.
You've got me convinced.
Merci. But in reality, my every muscle is poised, every nerve honed. I am drawn tight, ready to pounce. Pajang!
Who or what were you planning to pizzang on?
You must have heard, monsieur, of the terror that is gripping Paris.
You mean the killings? Oh, at last, someone's taken action.
People die every day. No, I am on the trail of Sewer Jacques.
Who?
Sewer Jacques, the terror of the subterranean city. He pops up here, he pops up there. The cops, they seek him everywhere. Is he so hush or beneath the neck? That damned elusive Sewer Jacques.
Bravo, that's very good.
Merci. I was up half the night writing that.
Who is this Sewer Jacques character anyway?
Ah, if we but knew that, we could have him in custody in an hour. But he is cunning. To despoil the sewers of our fair city, he has committed many deceptions. He has pretended to be a police officer and deluded a poor war veteran.
Uh-oh.
He has pretended to be a jongleur
Wow, is that the time?
and an American tourist. What nationality are you, monsieur?
Canadian. Well, gotta go now. See ya. Well, it's not everyone who can say they started an urban myth. Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant to speak to you again.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know. It is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks. I didn't have time to sit around. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. A huge stained glass window formed a magnificent centerpiece for its neighbors. I didn't recognize the biblical story in it. I was a Sunday school dropout. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world, I guess. The priest was still busy with the chalice, so I decided to have another look around the church. Waiting in prayer for the judgment day. A knight's tomb, his effigy in marble lying in perpetual state. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. Per disciplinum meum lux videbis. A bit of a stained glass window. Wow! Hoping for a big insight while squinting through a hunk of statuary had been pretty optimistic, I guess. The lens fitted into the end of the scroll like a hand into a glove. Hey! A Knight Templar burning at the stake, and a date. Let me see. MCCCXIV. That's 1314. Hello again, Father. Hey, thanks.
It is my pleasure, monsieur.
What was the writing on the chalice?
It was not writing, my mistake. It was a coat of arms. The remarkable thing is that it seems very familiar.
Yeah?
Oui, I think I have seen it on that wall tomb in the far corner. That winged horse is quite distinctive.
Did you know that the center window conceals an image of a man burning at the stake?
The Burning Man?
What, you knew?
That there was a hidden image? No. But the church has a reputation for being haunted. Many times people have claimed to have seen a burning man in the window. But when others they look, there is nothing. Perhaps the light has to be just so for the figure to appear.
Yeah, or maybe you need a special lens. You must be proud to have such an incredible collection of stained glass.
Pride is a sin, monsieur, but it is hard not to marvel when the light shines through them. It is a fine example of the artisan's genius.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Just think, there's a dead guy under there. Now that my attention had been drawn to it, there was no mistake. There was no name on it, but the coat of arms was undeniably the Pegasus of the de Vasconcelos family. I'd found the last resting place of Don Carlos. My eye was drawn to the biblical references carved into the edge of the tomb. Hey, maybe these biblical references mean something. Psalms 32:7, John 4:11, Corinthians 1:4-5, and just one more, Psalms 22:21. I may not be perfect, but I've got a memory like a steel trap. The Chalice had led me to these inscriptions, but it looked like a happy coincidence to me. After all, the de Vasconcelos arms were already on the manuscript. Nope, I was still convinced that the Chalice had some significance all of its own. It was hard to believe it was the same Chalice. Now the light gleamed off its perfect surface. Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant to speak to you again.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hi, André.
Hello, Georgie.
What do you make of this cup, André?
It's a 14th century.
You sure know your... While I was in Syria, I discovered a strange pagan statue. It was like a head with three bearded faces. Horrible.
That sounds as if it could be Baphomet, the idol described by the Templars.
The poor Knights of Christ had an idol that looked like that?
Allegedly. The description of the idol came from the evidence extracted by the Inquisition. Mind you, Not one statue or idol was ever found on Templar property. Until now, that is. Just last month, a statue of Baphomet was unearthed right here in Paris.
Where?
At the Institut Hermétique de Nerval. The statue is beneath the foundations. It was discovered by some workmen while renovating the building.
Can you tell me any more about the statue of Baphomet?
It's a fearful image, even now, a bearded head. The base of the statue is carved with Templar symbols. One of the workmen noticed a curious stain at the base. He claimed it looked like blood.
Blood?
That's right.
Thanks for your help, André.
You're welcome.
The case was empty. Excuse me, could you help me?
What is it?
I've got a few questions. I have a red nose.
Imagine.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yes, it's a communion chalice. I know, you know, I used to be an altar boy.
You?
Yes, me. What's so funny about that?
Nothing. Have you seen this man before?
Yes, he asked me a lot of questions, just like you.
Has a guy calling himself Merlin been nosing around?
Was he wearing a t-shirt with "My name is Merlin" on it?
I doubt it.
Then how the hell am I supposed to know his name just by looking at him? Huh?
I've got a sewer key.
I used to work in the sewer.
Oh? What happened?
I had a cigarette break in a pocket of methane. A manhole cover landed on the other side of the Seine and I was sacked.
I have some plaster of Paris.
Amazing.
I was pretty sure the shaken shock had shot its bolt in Syria.
A greasy tissue. Don't get it too close to my cigarette, monsieur, or there'll be a conflagration.
What does the word Templar suggest to you?
Templar?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're doing a fine job.
Merci. I have my professional pride.
I don't think I've ever seen a Gauloise smoked so stylishly.
It's a natural talent.
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm being indifferent.
You're very good at that as well.
Merci. Vive l'indifférence.
So, what are you doing here?
I am having my break.
Yeah, I mean when you finish your break.
When I finish my break, an interesting concept, monsieur.
You'll probably need to think about it.
I could have another cigarette while I consider. Perhaps tomorrow too?
Okay, let me put things differently. What were you hired to do here?
I was hired to keep the archaeological dig in the basement of this building clear of debris, and to touch up damage to the door frames with my little pot of paint. It's a very responsible job. Unfortunately, I'm not a very responsible person.
So what do you know about the excavation?
I know they won't let me in to do my job. I would complain to my union, but là...
You couldn't be bothered to join.
Right. Tell you what, though. I'm surprised at the sort of people interested in this excavation.
What's unusual about the visitors to the excavation?
None of them look like archaeologists to me.
Do you know what an archaeologist looks like?
Three-piece suits, crocodile-eyed attaché cases, Rolex oyster.
But no archaeologist dresses like that.
Quite right, monsieur, quite right.
So, who are they?
Who cares as long as they pay me?
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur.
The gate was surrounded by some pretty fancy ironwork. The painter had a pot of gunmetal gray primer hanging from the barrier.
Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. Pah!
There was a dumpster full of debris, from the excavation, I guessed.
Hey, you! Get away from my dumpster.
There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer. A guard stood by a door I guessed led to the excavation. He looked pretty pompous. Well, not so much pretty, just pompous. There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer.
That door's locked, monsieur.
There was a telephone on the far wall. A thermostat was mounted over a radiator. The radiator was pumping out heat as the thermostat was cranked right over to full. No wonder it was warm in here, even with the door open to the chill of fall. The doorway led to an old utility closet that had lost its door. There was nothing interesting in there. Yep, that was definitely debris. I couldn't see any use for a collection of dirt and half bricks. That guard had been put here to guard something. My guess was that the excavation was behind that door. Hi? Excuse me?
Oui?
I've got a red nose.
Oh.
I thought better of showing him the chalice. He might be on the conspiracy's payroll, and I didn't want to risk it.
Oui? You have...
A sudden urge to sing. Care to join me?
No, no singing in here.
Have you seen this man before?
Oh,
You have.
no.
Do you recognize this name?
Merlin. No.
This gadget is a sewer key.
So it is.
I got this plaster from Ireland.
Not an exciting souvenir.
I got this I was gonna have to get rid of this thing. It was dead. Look, a tissue stained with grease paint.
Ah, just what I've always wanted. If you give me that, you can enter through the door.
Really?
Of course not. What would I want with an old tissue?
What do you know about the Knights Templar? There was a long pause during which the guard said nothing. Then he said,
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Is this a test?
What, like a history pop test?
No, like a test.
Okay, yes, it's a test.
Then I know absolutely nothing about the Templars.
The guard was being amazingly evasive. It was going to take more than goodwill to get past him. trying to get into a locked washroom. I had the strongest feeling of déjà vu. I'd like to use the washroom, but the door's locked.
Oh, that's no problem. You can have the key.
Thanks. It sure is hot in here.
I have to have the door open to allow the workmen access, so why not? I turn the heat up.
You could wrap up warm.
I have my gloves if it gets cold, but why bother when it's warm anyway?
So, what exactly are you doing here?
I'm guarding. You expect to find me shearing sheep?
Take it easy. I just didn't realize you were a guard. I'd like to know what you're guarding, please.
That's a secret.
It wouldn't happen to be an archaeological site, would it?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Then why ask?
I had a feeling this was no normal hole in the ground. Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
I wasn't that interested in what might go into a restroom's garbage to investigate. Being in a charming comfort station like this made me think fondly of the toilet in Syria. That place was kept in pretty good order. At least, it had been until I vandalized it. Still, it was all for a good cause. I didn't want any coal. A huge pile of coal lay in the corner to fuel the boiler. Real high-tech stuff. The thing felt really hot. Big demands seemed to be being made on it. The shovel used to feed the furnace was stuck into the pile of coal. Capacious as my pockets were, I didn't figure I could cram a shovel in them. I could have climbed onto the sink, prized the ventilator cover loose, wedged myself into the tiny hole, smashed the far cover out, and plunged headfirst into the next room. Or I could just go through the door like a sane person. A hand dryer was mounted on the wall. If the Club Alamut had used one of these instead of a roller towel, I'd probably still be stuck in Marib. The taps were rusty. Oh boy! I didn't want to use that unless I really had to. A filthy wash basin hung on the wall. The cold tap's washer looked to have failed. It was just dribbling down the sink. On the keyring was a big old key that looked like it might fit the excavation door. The It was the bar of soap I'd stolen from the washroom of the excavation site. I made an impression of the big key in the cake of soap. I carefully sprinkled the plaster into the soap mold I'd made of the key. Well, it had taken a while, but I had made myself a completely unconvincing plaster key. Way too fragile to use in a lock. I'd have to substitute it for the real one. Trouble was, it looked like plaster and not metal. Then again, that plaster statue in Syria hadn't looked like stone until I'd been a bit artful with it. Maybe I could improve the key as well. That is not a good idea. It was my plaster copy of the excavation key. Trouble was, it looked like plaster, and it felt like plaster.
Hey, monsieur, don't go with my keys. What is it?
Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Hi, it's me again.
What now?
I made this key out of plaster.
How thrilling! How clever! How pointless.
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur. Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. Pah!
Do you mind if I use the phone?
Be my guest. I'm paid to guard this door. The phone can look after itself.
Couleur.
Hi, Nico. It's me. I'm at the excavation site.
Hi, Georges. What's happening?
I'm at the excavation, but they won't let me in.
Damn. We need to know what's in there.
Don't worry. I've got a scheme. I'm going to need your help, though.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
I want you to keep somebody on the phone for a while.
Who?
A painter. I need to get at his pot.
Oh, okay.
Stay on the line. I'll go and get him. Hi, it's me again.
What now?
You've got a phone call.
For me? Are you certain?
It's a woman. She sounded hot.
What woman? You must be mistaken, monsieur.
Well, she asked for that hunk of a man with the nicotine fingers in his ass hanging out of his pants.
Certainly sounds like me. Stand back. It wouldn't do to keep the lady from her unk.
The plaster key had soaked up the paint nicely, and now looked pretty convincing. Still felt like plaster, though.
Well, monsieur, what a strange woman. She was all over me, and then suddenly, nothing but abuse.
Really?
Why, abuse? Ah well, I have a cigarette to finish. And monsieur, if she calls again, I am not available.
Hi again.
What is it?
I need to use the toilet again.
Again? Already?
I have this problem. How technical do you want me to get?
Never mind. Here's the key.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
I figured this was better done out of the guard's sight. Quickly and without fuss, I swapped the fake key for the real thing. It was the key to the excavation.
What is it?
I couldn't give him the keys. The false key looked pretty convincing, but it felt exactly like what it was. Painted plaster. He was bound to detect it. A thermostat was mounted over a radiator. The radiator was pumping out. No. I turned the heating off.
What is it?
I held my breath and hoped that he wouldn't notice the substitution. Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Hi, Nico. It's me again.
I'd guessed. What do you want this time?
What did you say to the painter?
I shan't repeat it, George.
Look, I need to get the guard out of the way. Could you call back and ask him to get the painter again?
Okay, I'll call back soon.
This looked like a good place to watch things develop.
Hey, you! It's the phone.
Yeah? Who is it?
How should I know? What am I, your social secretary?
It's not a chick, is it?
Yes, it's a woman. Are you going to answer it?
Does she have a warm, sensual voice like molten chocolate?
Yes, she has a really sexy voice. Now get a move on.
I'm not talking to her.
I can see that. You're wasting time talking to me.
No, you don't understand. I refuse to talk to her.
You refuse. You refuse. I'm wasting valuable time.
Don't make me laugh. Your time valuable? You just stand around all day.
I have a highly responsible job.
Pah!
Don't pah me, you elephantine oaf. My job is important.
Impossible. They would have hired somebody competent in that case.
Meaning what?
Instead of which they hired a dismal rent-a-cop like you. All epaulettes and no brains.
Why, you...
This looked set to carry on for some time. It was too good an opportunity to miss. Some planks used to make the catwalk were leaning against the wall. Close up, the pattern didn't make any sort of sense. It fanned out around an axis point, a kind of focus to one side. Now there's a familiar face. There was no doubt about it. It was the same sort of idol I'd seen in Syria, Baphomet. The Templars had certainly been through here. And there it was, decoded by the curves of the chalice, the image of a church. I found out what the chalice was for.
You've solved the puzzle?
Yeah, there was a distorted picture at the Baphomet Site. When I viewed it in the polished surface of the chalice, it changed.
What did it show?
A picture of a church with a square tower. Look at the chalice now, Nico.
What happened? It's shiny.
The priest at Montfaucon buffed it up for me.
That's incredible.
Yeah, looks as good as new.
No, you found a use for a priest. That's incredible.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the face of the statue I saw at the bull. That's the lens I found on Klausner's body in the bull's head. That's the gem. That's the clue that led me to the statue of Baphomet and the reflection in the chalice. That's the I guess I'd better return the chalice to the Countess.
Hurry back, Georges.